stuff. So we often hand out both dollars, and sometimes people will take both, and sometimes they will take only one. And generally that will be the pretty one with the solutions on it.
Well, I love the Walking the Global Heart Perception Dollar.
Oh, that was the point. I kind of digressed so much, but the whole title of the book is Waking the Global Heart, Humanity's Rites of Passage from the Love of Power to the Power of Love.
Is that your book?
It's Anna Dea Judith's book, and it's a beautiful, wonderful book, and she's done a lot of spiritual work, and for her, humanity, what's happened is we've grown up like the whole collectively as a body way too fast, and the heart chakra didn't open up before the brain chakra.
Right.
So what we have is this huge human body which is dominating the planet and taking up so much space and using up so much resources, and it's using the sort of an intellectual plane rather than acknowledging or opening up the heart chakra or the love part. So, and that's where I would say our greatest wisdom is. And even in that film I Am, it looked at measuring the electromagnetic field that human beings generate, and the heart is much more powerful than the head. And I don't think there's anything wrong with thinking, reason, rationality, especially critical thought, knowing history. But I think that a deeper wisdom comes from the heart, and that a lot of the problems are trying to solve things at an intellectual level and missing the deeper dimensions, that emotional sensing feeling. And unfortunately, of course, people who know this too often like to manipulate other people through this knowledge, and we have to be wary of that. We have to be careful of that. But I think most people need to recognize their heart wisdom and recognize. I think most people know instinctively, if I do this, it's the right thing or it's the wrong thing, and have some idea of what the consequences are going to be to the people around them or the larger system. I mean, we know when we fill the car with gasoline and we drive a long way that it's not beneficial to the earth. We know when we bicycle or when we all these little actions how they impact people individually and collectively.
One of the things I love about the love currency is it reminds me of Mother Teresa's statement, and of course I'm going to paraphrase and I'm not going to do it justice, but basically she said she'll never go to an anti-war rally, but she will go to a peace rally. And so I like the humor of the other currency, okay, and the wisdom of the other currencies. The reason I'm attracted to the love currency and Waking the Global Heart and the perception dollar is that you're seeding something into consciousness with that has to do with the comment that Mother Teresa made. And so for visualizing and engaging consciousness, you've bridged a monetary look with the seed of love. And on a paradigm level, many people in the world don't accept the possibility that you can actually have the currency of love related to money and a message about us all being connected and the power of love. So to me, that's such a powerful imagery and such a powerful piece of art.
And I also think that the gift economy is where we want to go.
Talk about it, would you? We could talk for 10 days.
We had a gift economy before money was invented, and I think you had more cooperation when people lived in community. The word community means the free exchange of gifts.
I didn't know that.
Yes, and
I love to learn, I swear. It's great.
People lived cooperatively. I mean, if you look at Darwin's Survival of the Species, the backstory of that is that the person who came before Darwin, who figured this out, recognized as cooperation as a great survival skill. And it was the cooperativeness that was one of the most important survival skills. And I think this is something that we need to acknowledge and recognize, that if we're going to if we're going to make it as a species, we've got to improve our cooperative abilities, not our competitive abilities. That's much more important. And when my husband was taking a class on empathy, and they were telling about experiments that they've done giving money to kids and seeing what they do with them. And I'm talking about college-age students. And when those students spent the money on themselves or paid off their debts, it didn't really affect them emotionally. But when they gave the money away, it made them happier. And a lot of people don't realize what makes them happy. But actually giving makes people happy. And I think one reason the dollars have been so popular too is people like to give them away, and that when we exercise that giving, whether it be a smile, some fruit, some cookies, money, our time, our attention, and people respond to that, it brings us great joy. And unfortunately, our society generally doesn't encourage people to do that. It has a tendency to force people into the more exchange utilitarian mode. That's what is emphasized over and over again. So it's nice to break that pattern and I mean, one reason we created those dollars initially was because of the extreme censorship. It was a way to get information out to the public, and we would just pass them out on the street, tabling or at anti-war rallies, wherever. And if you walk up to somebody on the street and you give them something, it's like, oh my God, they're so surprised. I mean, generally.
Why did you run for Congress, and what did you think you would be able to do differently?
Well, I actually never expected to get elected to Congress. I was asked to run by the Green Party, and at the same time I had just been thrown out of a congressional debate by the League of Women Voters because I asked a taboo question.
What'd you ask?
I was asking about the 9/11 Commission because I felt it was a cover-up, and they were all for pushing forward with the 9/11 Commission's recommendations, which I thought were ridiculous and obscene and counterproductive. And so the League of Women Voters threw me out of the debate, and I thought, well, if I run for Congress, I can talk about this and raise this issue without getting thrown out of the debates. So you have some legal ability to make statements that you don't have if you're not running for Congress. And then you get some free airtime, some free television time. So, and the Green Party always needs candidates. So I decided I'd go ahead and run. And that's the main reason that I did it. Also, one of the meta-messages that happened and is still happening right now is that speaking about 9/11 truth is political suicide. And this was the meta-message that went out by the corporate media, especially when they crucified Van Jones for signing a 9/11 truth petition. And I think there's other people too. They just wanted people to know this is taboo. You're not supposed to raise these questions or this issue. And so I was trying to do it very publicly, so that it created more space for dialogue. In fact, when I first started doing that work, just showing the first American-made 9/11 truth documentary was a challenge. We were doing it at the anti-war rallies in San Francisco on a screen made by a sheet, just projecting it for free for people in the Civic Center in San Francisco, and the police shut us down. They wouldn't let us do that.
How's that possible?
They just did it. And I've had police try to shut us down, so many times, lying to us. I mean, a lot of things happen. But what happened in that particular instance is that I rented the Herbst Theater at the San Francisco War Memorial Building, which is this big fancy building across the street from the City Hall, which borders the Civic Center. And in less than a month,